Bad marketers want to save you money. So I used to be a bad marketer because I was always trying to help my clients get leads for less, acquire customers for less. That was always the goal. How many leads do you want? As many as I can get. How much do you want to pay? As little as possible. And I would just run with that because I thought, why not? That makes sense. But I've come to learn about advertising, and especially platforms like Google Ads, where you're directly bidding against other advertisers, is the top 20% of the advertisers get almost all of the leads. It's the 80-20 rule. The bottom 20% get almost none of the leads. They don't get anything. That's where most contractors end up. You know, they go into it with like $250 a month, and they're competing against advertisers who already know that it costs them $1,500 to acquire a customer. They know that even if they spend $1,500 to acquire that customer, they're still going to make $3,000 or whatever. And so then they pump up the volume so they make more money, and they suck up more of the leads because they're always on top. They're willing to spend the most. And then Joe Schmo comes in with $250 a month budget, and he doesn't know that on average it takes $1,500 to acquire a customer. So 3 months go by, he's $750 in, and he's sitting there thinking, man, Google Ads sucks. It doesn't even work. I got a couple leads, but they weren't good. And he never even makes it to that threshold where it becomes worthwhile. He probably gives up after 3 or 4 months, or even 1 month. And that's why if you talk to contractors, a lot of them will say Google Ads doesn't work. And it's because they're not spending enough money. They haven't hit that threshold. So if a marketer comes by and they're talking to you about trying to get leads for as little as possible, you're already heading in the wrong direction. The right direction is, how can we make more from each customer so that we can afford to spend more to acquire them? That's how you can take over more of your market. If you're competing with a guy across the street and you can afford to spend twice as much as he can to acquire a customer, who do you think is going to get more customers? You are. You're probably going to get most of them. And that's exactly how it works on internet marketing, digital marketing. All you have to do is go run your numbers and figure out if you can go back to the whole last year, that'd be great. Add up all your profit and divide it by the number of jobs you had or the number of customers, and figure out what your average profit per customer is. And then think about, how much of that profit would I be willing to give up to get that job? Or even better, how much could I raise my prices and still get enough jobs, but cover some of my marketing costs? Because you can probably raise your prices a couple $100 and nobody's really going to notice. And so if it costs you $500 to acquire a customer and you're able to raise your prices $250, now you're only paying $250 to acquire a customer. But you have to look at it that way. You're buying customers. That's what online marketing is. That's what any kind of marketing is. You put money in, yeah, you have to process them. So you should factor in how much time it takes you to get a customer. If you have to call 5 people, meet with 2 of them, do 2 estimates, and then you get 1, you need to factor in all the time it takes to get that 1 customer, and just go by a law of averages and figure out the average of everything. And then you can use that as a guide for making decisions and knowing where to put your resources and whatnot. But man, it took me way too long to realize this, that the more that you can spend to acquire a customer, the more customers you're going to get. And now that I say it, it seems common sense. If it doesn't seem common sense to you, watch this video again.